Alright, so the next one's going to be 5 gaps. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And the next one will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm steadily increasing the space. You can see right here where I've got them very close. Then they increase as they go on. And what that does is, and I'll continue. Now I'm going to just hit this right here. Actually, what I'll do is I'll slow it down now. So instead of going more, I'll just start to slow down, and I'll just kind of draw in the same spot, but just kind of slowing it down. Now what you don't want to do is make that line become dead. So for instance, even though I'm drawing it in the same place, because it's imperfect, it will continue to wiggle around. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to play through. And you can see. So here's what I don't want to see. I'm going to increase this, and I'm going to give myself another 30 frames or so, and I'm going to convert to blank keyframes. Now you can take a line like this, and I can copy it. So I can say Control C, and then I can go to the next frame, and I can say Control Shift V, and it'll paste it in place. And I can say Control Shift V, paste it in place. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm pasting the exact same piece of information there. It's not being drawn. So the actual line itself isn't changing. So what happens is that line becomes kind of dead. It doesn't become kind of dead. It becomes dead. The life in it just stops to move. Stops moving. You'll notice that at the beginning here, I'm going to turn off my. Even though the line is supposed to be kind of in the same spot, it just kind of wiggles and changes around a little bit. And then it starts to move, and then it slows down. But then once it hits kind of the ground, it stops. And even though the frames are moving for a little bit, that the life of the object doesn't change. It doesn't stay alive. Versus if I took, say, starting right here, and if I began to basically began to, I'll show you something that you can do. I can make a new layer, and I can convert. Now I have 2 layers. And I'm going to go back to this point where that hits the ground and becomes stagnant right here. And I'm going to take those and I'm going to make those blank keyframes. Oh, Control Z. Let me convert to blank frame. So here I am. And I'm going to draw the same line, basically right beside this one, but then keep it alive. Turn on my onion skin. And even though it's supposed to be kind of in the same spot, the fact that it's drawn imperfectly, our hands, don't make the exact same line, I don't want you to really make it perfect. We want that wiggle in the line so that the line always remains alive, even though it's staying essentially in the same place. And it's really such a short period of time. I'm going to back up here, turn off onion skin, and I'm going to play through that section. So the line on the left stays, dies when it hits the ground, and the one on the right continues to wiggle. Now I'm going to hit Control Enter, and you can see all these marks that I've made, and you can see the difference. This one stops and dies, and this one remains active. And we want that active nature in the line. So I want you to experiment with this. Try out different pen settings. Try out different marks, movements, slow, fast, random. make sure you understand, this, what happens when you mark all over the page. Every single frame of the film is different, and what it looks like when you start to control that. How do I control that movement? By drawing things just slightly different so that that movement is much more smooth and much more controlled. I want you to be able to control your animations and control the motions that you are trying to simulate or when you are animating. Okay, so those are the basic ideas. We'll talk more about taking this animation and working with it in the future. But for now, this is kind of what I want you to be aware of.